Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My humble namaskaram to the Supreme Lord Srinivasa, to all my gurus, my elders and all women out there. On the occasion of Women's Day, I would like to share my views on women in Sanatana Dharma. Whenever I say this word Sanatana Dharma, it immediately sticks to a word religion. But rather, Sanatana Dharma is not a religion but a philosophy. And people are under this great misconception that Sanatana Dharma is something which differentiates among people, which causes division among people. But that is not true. It is such a Dharma which has taught us Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. And our civilization of Sanatana Dharma, it is the oldest in this world. Oldest living civilization is Sanatana Dharma. Also, I would like to say that Sanatana Dharma is the foundation to the richness in heritage and culture and tradition that our country possesses today. A civilization can last long only when it assimilates philosophical, scientific, logical, political, economic, social and topical circumstances and has moral values and even proves its reverences. And in all these aspects, Sanatana Dharma has proved its superiority. And we should be a proud follower of it. So, when we say woman in Sanatana Dharma, she is represented by Stri. Women here in our Sanskriti are encapsulation of strength. She is Shakti here. Nowadays, in the present era, women are successful in any field. But actually the power and strength that we as women possess now is due to our ancient Indian women and the women in our epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata and the Puranas. It's all because they have taught us. They are the embodiment of vitality actually. They showed us so much strength and power. I would like to give an example here. So, in Mahabharata, let us take Draupadi as example here. Draupadi is one such woman who has shown us so much strength and power to stand against adharma. She was called to the Sabha without her consent. Actually, she was not called, she was dragged to the Sabha. There, she was not treated properly. Okay, these all were wrong. But eventually what happened? Eventually, it led to the Kaurava Pandava Mahayuddha. The great Mahabharata Yuddha took place because of her. She did not even tie her hair until the defeat of the Kauravas, who actually caused a nuisance in her life. Isn't she an embodiment of power and strength? She is literally. She has shown us how to be strong and how to act upon circumstances. It is only that our perspective towards all these itihasas and puranas has changed. What we do normally is that we highlight the we amplify or highlight a wrong example. When a civilization is so long lasting and when a civilization has so much reach, there would have been some people who would have not got it right. It's not the defect of the Dharma, it is because those people couldn't understand it properly. But those wrong examples should never be highlighted. It should always be the greatness that our Dharma, our civilization possess, and it is the fact that we as people in Sanatana Dharma give highest position to women. Our Sanatana Dharma is the only thing where we can find female goddesses. Such a great position is given to women. This is all because in our Sanskriti, women are never treated as commodity. So, I would like to state an example. Nowadays, we are getting so much influenced from the west part of the world. And by this influence, even in India nowadays, the glamour aspect in a woman is highlighted. But according to our Sanskriti, it was always the character, the moral values, the patience, the valor, the beauty in a woman which was highlighted. That's why even in West, when people used to highlight the glamour aspect of a woman and treat her as commodity, in our Sanskriti, it was never done like that. It was always the greatness of a woman which was highlighted and not the glamour aspect in a woman. Such is our Sanskriti, and such greatly we treated women in our ancient times. So, giving a jovial example here, actually in the West they call a person as Mr. So and so and his wife as Mrs. The person's name comes, she is Mrs. So and so. But according to our Sanskriti, it is always the name of the woman comes first. If you see, it's Lakshmi Narayana, Parvati Parameshwara, Bharati Ramana. The first position is always given to the woman, followed by the husband's name. This itself shows the thought of the people who were in our country. And when I talk about giving a position to women, actually when we compare to the rest of the world, we as a part of India do not need actually any women's liberalization organizations, because we in our ancient times have treated women properly with respect and value. Our ancient men knew well to respect women, to show her respect, to respect her in all aspects, and domestic violence never existed here. But in western part of the world, there happened brutal abuse to women. So there started this concept of women liberalization acts, etc. That's why we actually do not need any women's liberalization organization, because there never existed domestic violence here. Rather, it existed in the western part of the world. A simple example which I would like to give is in Ramayana. So what happens in Ramayana is that Saint Vishwamitra convinces Dasharatha and takes Rama and Lakshmana along with him so that they could protect his yajna. So on the way, when they were walking towards the ashrama of Vishwamitra, they had to cross a dense forest, and in the middle of the forest they had to encounter Tataka. There Saint Vishwamitra asked Rama to do the samhara of Tataka. Even though very well knowing that Tataka was killing people, she was harming innocent people, she was harming rishis, muni, etc. Even though knowing all of this, Lord Rama hesitated for some moments before he could point an arrow against Tataka. This was just because she was a woman. Even though knowing she was a culprit doing all of that nuisance, Lord Rama hesitated just because she was a woman. This itself clearly shows how much in our ancient times they were against violence on women. Of course, and not only Rama, after that there were lot of rishis and munis whom I can quote as an example, who have valued and respected women. So that's why I told in the beginning itself that we do not need any organization to free women. Here women are always treated with respect. Even the Sarvottama, Lord Vishnu and the great Vishnu Bhakta Shiva both have given half of their Sharira to their wives. We all know the Ardhanari Nararupa. If you come to my hometown Srirangam, there is a temple called Thiruvanekkaaval temple, and the Devi Murti in that temple, her name is Akhilandeshwari, Akhila Andagalige Ishwari. She is given the highest position of the ruler of the world. That's what I say, the highest position. Women are given very good position, women are treated with very respectful way, treated in a respectful way, etc. When I say the power in a woman, women are a form of power. That's why in our Dharma she is called Shakti. But power here doesn't specifically need to be the power to be the wild one or to be the loud one or to be the bold one like a man. The power in woman is very different from a man. It's the power to love, it's the power of forgiveness that she has, it's the power she has to form and withhold a family, it's the power of pacifying people, it's the power of reproduction. All these are also powers which are, I think, which are in a major scale owned by women. Again, there is a misconception when I say the power, women try to be powerful like men and try to dress like them and try to be like them. But we should embrace the womanhood that we have, the difference that we possess, the characteristics that we possess, the way of being shy, the way of being polite, the patience, the forgiveness that we have. These are exclusive powers that we have, and I think God has gifted us with these powers. So, we should actually embellish these powers and fulfill by taking care and responsibility of the family in a very much better way, I think so. So, when I talk about all these powers, there are women in our Dharma who have shown these powers in our Itihasa. For example, in Ramayana, Sita. I will illustrate an incident where Sita has shown the power of forgiveness. So, as we all know in Ramayana, through Sugriva, Rama and Hanuman met, and after a long discussion, it was decided that Anjaneya was the one who was going to trespass the ocean and go and give ring to Sita Devi. So, as per the plan, Anjaneya took a leap, he flew trespassing the ocean and went to Ashokavana. There he saw Sita Devi, he did namaskara to her and he gave the ring which he bought from Lord Rama. But when this was happening, he observed and noticed the Rakshasis, other Rakshasis who were around Sita Devi, troubling her, annoying her through making loud noises and screaming, etc. And Anjaneya very well remembered all those faces. So, after getting Chudamani from her, he came back, he didn't do anything to anyone there. But after lot of incidents, when in the end of the Ramayana, when Yuddha was taking place, there happened a fall of Ravana. When Ravana fell unconscious, Hanuman, he became too excited. He immediately jumped and went to Ashokavana to spread the good news about the fall of Ravana. And there, after describing the fall of Ravana, Hanuman asked permission from Sita Devi to kill all those Rakshasis who annoyed her. He very well remembered their faces. Even though Sita Devi experienced some of the nuisance there, she denied Hanuman. She stopped Anjaneya from killing them. She told, "Oh Hanuman, you are right that these ladies, they didn't behave with me properly, but they were Ravana's workers. They had to obey him. They are dependent on him for their survival. So, I think let us not kill them and let us set them free," said Sita Devi. And Anjaneya was taken aback by her words. Such a power of forgiveness she has shown there. And further she says, whenever we make mistake, we forgive ourselves so easily, but we don't do that to a third person. So, by explaining, and even though having to tolerate some nuisance, she could forgive people. So, that power which we inherit as women is the power that we should be proud of, those powers of forgiveness, the power to combine a family and withhold a family, because women are more mentally stable actually. A power to reproduce, power to give janma, these are something that women exclusively have, and most probably those are not highlighted because we just want to be like someone else and then end up doing something else. Also, the power of multitasking, which women are very capable of. We can take care of our children and family and at the same time do sadhana and be successful. Such great powers we possess, which we should be proud of. Again, this incident of Sita Devi doesn't exclusively mean that she was so soft, so innocent that she couldn't stand up against adharma. No, it doesn't show that. When it came to Ravana, so this was for those ladies who were dependent on Ravana, but when it actually came to Ravana, she stood against him like a pillar. She faced him directly. She called him Trina. Trina is a grass. She compares him to Trina. He is like a Trina among many other grasses, a piece of grasses which are found on the ground. She compares him to a grass on the ground and she stands against him, against adharma solidly. This shows the capacity of a woman. This shows the Sita Devi's character of knowing and understanding where to stand strong and where to forgive and where to show maturity, etc. Often nowadays women think of self-respect and self-esteem in a different way. See, self-respect is for everyone, whether it is a male or a female. Women in our Sanskriti had a lot of self-respect. Now, I would like to give an example here. Again, in Ramayana, this incident happened. When Hanuman took a leap and trespassed the ocean and went to Ashokavana to give the ring to Sita Devi, he actually saw the situation where she was and he offered to take her back to Rama. Hanuman told to Sita Devi, you sit on my back, I will take you and I will give you to your husband. He told it, but she denied it. She says, oh Hanuman, you don't worry about me, you go back, Rama will come here, fight with Ravana, he will kill Ravana and then take me back majestically. Such a confidence and self-esteem she had. She never wanted to go in the dark. She wanted to fight, get back her rights and then go majestically. Such self-esteem and self-respect and forgiveness, all these characters were showed by her. When I say forgiveness, Sita Devi, Draupadi, all these, they have been, they are the quintessence of power in women. They say forgiveness is the ultimate virtue and these ladies have shown us to them. So, never in our Dharma, women were deprived of jnana. And it is a misconception that people have that those in ancient India, women used to do household work and nothing else. But that's absolutely wrong, because the classic example here is the first story of Bhagavata, which is the story of Kardama Prajapati and Devahuti Devi. In Bhagavata, Lord Vishnu incarnated as Devahuti's son, Lord Kapila. After incarnation, he did Tattvopadesha to his mother Devahuti Devi. This itself clearly shows that women are eligible, and in our Dharma, women were given the right for Tattvajnana in the way which are told to them. So, the reason why I told this, because there are many other civilizations, there were many civilizations and religions who made education and knowledge not for women, who told that women are not eligible to read, to write, etc. But that's not the case in Sanatana Dharma. Here, women are completely eligible for Tattvajnana, which is clearly shown by Kapila Bhagavan. So we have talked about the power of forgiveness, we have talked about the power of mental stability, of the multitasking. When it comes to multitasking, women are number one at it. Also, when we say of power of mental stability, women are more mature, way more mature women are. This is because I would like to state illustration here. In Ramayana, once Sugriva called Vali for war, that too at midnight. Knowing that Vali is going to fight with Sugriva at midnight and understanding the change in tone of Sugriva's call, Vali's wife Tara actually she warns Vali. She says, "Wow, Vali, do not go to war now. It is midnight and Sugriva has called you at this time. And I also heard that Rama is on a Sanchara nearby. It is due to him that Sugriva is calling you. So do not go now," she advises to Vali. But he doesn't listen to it. He goes there, he gets killed. Of course, he then attains Mukti. But the highlighted portion here is that Tara showed such mental stability and maturity, understanding the situation and advising him. Women were given the right to express their views in Sanatana Dharma. It was never that women were not given the freedom to write. Of course, women are, that's what I told. It doesn't mean the power of boldness or talking in a loud tone, but for expressing a opinion, women were always given freedom. So, we should be proud that we are a follower of such a Sanatana Dharma, and we are a people of such a country where even before knowing its map, people came to know about the properties of Brahmanda, etc. It is such a country. Mostly this is a saying in a village. In Indian villages, especially in south villages, when we go to south villages, we can find some elevated portion which is an elevated sitting arrangement in front of house. So that is done to sit and talk there. So this is called Thinnai in Tamil. So once a foreign philosopher, he went and visited a Indian village. There he saw that people were sitting and talking at the elevated portion in their house, which was in front of their house actually. And he was astonished by the fact that people casually discussed about the atoms and molecules, about the Anu and Paramanu, simply sitting on the couches. People easily did some complex calculations of Jyotisha Shastra, not even having a pie book. Such is our richness in heritage and culture that our country possesses. Now, why I am telling this here is that we normally do not highlight this part of our greatness, and we rather go on highlighting in our history textbooks, highlighting in our history that how many times we were invaded, we were conquered, we were looted, and how were our women in our ancient times were raped and abused, etc. But rather than doing all these, we should highlight this, because only if we imbibe such a pride in our mind, we will be able to build we will be able to give a culture and tradition to the future generation, and that can happen, and with that only we can recreate history. So I would like to conclude by saying that on this day, on Women's Day, to all the great women out there, whether the woman is a toddler or a youth or a married woman or an old age woman, let us embrace womanhood, motherhood, and let us embellish the motherhood and other responsibilities and other powers we have with pleasure and satisfaction. And let us also try to put some greatness in the minds of our children about the importance of Dharma, importance of culture, importance of our country, about the greatness of the Supreme Lord, etc. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.